am excited about the lesson for today. If you have your Bibles, we're actually going to Matthew 2, verses 1 through 11. I'm going to read through it for the next couple of this Sunday and next Sunday. We're still talking about miracle in a manger, but we're going to be talking about the mighty Magi. Because once we talked about gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and we studied it, I said, God, I need to know more. And God responded by saying, if you want to know what the gift's about, then you need to study the giver. So I just want to share with you very briefly Matthew 2, 1 through 11, and then talk about what God gave in that process. It says, now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them where this Christ was to be born. So they said to him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, but you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. And that's found in Micah 5 and 7. Then Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search carefully for the young child. And when you have found him, bring back word to me, that I may come and worship him also. When they heard the king, they departed, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented gifts to him, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And if you look, you see our representations of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. We wanted to give you, here at the Prophet's Voice, a visual idea and understanding of what the gifts were that were given. I want to start in verses 1 through 3, because in order to understand these wonderful gifts, we've got to understand the giver. It says, now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men. Now, it doesn't say 3 wise men. I know often we use that analogy when we're doing our Christmas plays. Nothing wrong with that, but just wanted to let you know biblically, it doesn't say how many wise men. It just says there were 3 gifts. But wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who was been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to worship him. And when Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Well, in understanding the givers, you need to know that they were called Magi. I know you've heard that before, but the Magi comes from the Latin word Magi, and it's a word for a select group of priests. In fact, the word magic comes from the same root, but these are not like our magicians in the 21st century. No, they're not pulling any rabbits out of any hats. These men were of hereditary priesthood, and they had profound and extraordinary religious, science, and philosophical knowledge. And they were held in high esteem, and they were respected by the Persian government, which is where they were out of, the Jewish government, and they were respected by the Roman governments. Now, I need you to understand the Magi were no stranger to Jewish culture. Daniel, you remember Daniel, a Jew, while in Babylonian captivity, was named the chief Magi. In fact, he was second in command to King Darius, and that's where all of the lions' den and all of the satraps and the priests got upset, because Daniel was considered to be the chief Magi, and they put him in the lions' den because of the order and decree that was made as it related to the king. But I need you also to mention, to understand that Magi are written about by religious historians like Josephus and St. Augustine and St. Irenaeus. And I need you to know this. When the Magi entered the country, they didn't enter hidden. They didn't enter like they were hiding. In fact, Brother David, when we were talking about this lesson, said when he looked and saw the gifts, he thought about camels. They would have come with an entourage. I need you to understand they would have come with much pomp and circumstance. and they would have had a cavalry escort to ensure that they had safe passage in Roman territory. Now, understand, this was why Herod would get upset and be concerned, because now here is coming this major entourage into Jerusalem asking a question that he nor the people of Jerusalem have an answer for. These Magi, these mighty Magi, studied ancient prophecy, Persian and Jewish. So they would have been familiar with Old Testament prophetic writings like in Numbers 24, Isaiah 7, Micah 5, Daniel 9. And so because of their status, to appear in Herod's court was not unusual. That wasn't unusual. It wasn't an unusual reason if they were coming in. But the fact that they were coming with an entourage and a cavalry escort would make Jerusalem and Herod troubled, because they're wondering now what is going on and why would they come in this manner.